Hey everyone! Welcome to the start of a new series, SCUM for Beginners. With SCUM 1.0 finally here, and with it, hopefully more new players joining this amazing open-world survival crafting game, I thought I would put together some tutorials to help with what can be a pretty steep learning curve. The in-game tutorials have gotten a lot better, but there is still much that you have to discover yourself. This series will cover some of the things I wish I knew when I first started playing SCUM. Before you even put your feet on the ground of SCUM Island, you will have to make some important decisions as part of the character creation process. Assigning attribute points. Each attribute defines how your character will perform and react in the game. There are 4 main attributes: strength, constitution, dexterity, and intelligence. In SCUM, in order to perform at the level of an average healthy individual, your attribute level must be at 3. However, you are only given a fixed number of points to distribute between attributes, so deciding where to place those points can really shape your early gameplay. So let's talk about each attribute in a little bit more detail. The strength attribute refers to performing activities that require strength. It determines how much weight you will carry without being slowed down, how fast you are able to move a heavy object, how much damage you will inflict during melee combat, and how many calories your body burns. Strength is great, but it can be difficult to maintain. The constitution attribute refers to physical endurance and stamina. It determines how many health points you will initially have, how well your body handles physical damage and stressors, how fast you get tired and recover energy, and calorie consumption efficiency. A high constitution can be the difference between life and death, especially for new players. The dexterity attribute refers to speed of movement and reaction. It determines how fast you can move, walk, and run, how fast you can perform everyday actions such as crafting, eating, reloading your weapon, as well as your chance to perform complicated actions such as surgery or fixing electronics. The intelligence attribute refers to perception and the capability to perform tasks successfully. It determines your chance of hitting the target you're aiming at and how quickly you learn skills over time. To help decide where to assign attribute points, it's important to note that during the game, these attributes can be increased or reduced for a limited period or even permanently as you play. For example, the more you carry heavy items, the more your strength increases. It's much more demanding to change attributes in the long run, however. This usually happens if you manage to survive long enough for your body to evolve to the next level. This is why having a good attribute baseline is important. Now that we know what each attribute does, let's look at where and how to assign your points. The game makes you assign attribute points in 2 parts. On the very first character creation screen, you will see the 4 attributes listed with 3 points evenly distributed between them. You can leave it like this or distribute the points differently so you have more to work with in the places you want. I'm going to leave the points as they are for now. Next, we customize the physical appearance of our character before we move into assigning points more precisely. As you can see, each attribute is further specialized into specific skills. The strength attribute is made up of brawling, rifles, melee weapons, handguns, and archery. With the introduction of hordes, firing a gun comes with a lot more risk. It may also take you some time during the early game to find a gun and the appropriate magazine and ammo to go with it, so you will likely rely the most on your fists, melee weapons, and a craftable bow and arrow. For a beginner, my recommendation would be to put your points into melee and archery, as higher skills in these areas will help you to defeat enemies quicker and hopefully keep you alive longer. The constitution attribute is made up of running and endurance. As you run in game, your character's running skill will increase. You will spend a lot of early game on foot, so it won't take you long to build this skill naturally as you play. For that reason, my personal preference is to put more points into endurance, although I do still put some points into running. The dexterity attribute is made up of thievery, driving, demolition, motorcycling, stealth, and aviation. As you drive vehicles, your skill in these areas will increase. Unless you are the worst in-game driver on the planet, I wouldn't bother putting any points into these skills. Stealth will also go up as you play, but it may help you as a beginner to put points in here to help you with basic survival as you learn the game. The demolition skill is a must-have for kill boxes. However, there is a tool you can craft in-game that you can practice on to increase this skill when you need it. As a beginner, you won't be going into kill boxes, therefore I don't recommend putting points into this skill. I like to put points into thievery, since good loot tends to be behind locked doors. The intelligence attribute is made up of awareness, sniping, camouflage, survival, cooking, engineering, medical, and farming skills. Intelligence is an important attribute and can really help with survival. For example, the awareness skill gives your character the ability to determine direction without a compass. This is crucial for someone like me who can't navigate to save her life. Engineering skills are necessary for advanced crafting and building, while medical skills make you more efficient at healing yourself and others. For beginners, I recommend putting points into awareness, engineering, and medical. These should get you further into the game so that you can then turn your focus to quality of life. If you decide you don't want to put 3 full points into Constitution, for example, you can go back 2 screens and pull those points out of that attribute and distribute them into the categories you prefer. Once done, simply advance 2 screens and continue assigning points until you find the right balance for you. Here is what I personally think is a great beginner attribute point distribution. I have 2 points in strength with medium archery and basic melee, 3 points in constitution with medium endurance and basic running, 3 points in dexterity with medium thievery and basic stealth, and 4 points in intelligence with basic awareness, medium engineering, and medium medical. Where to assign attribute points is a personal choice. SCUM is a complex game. As you learn the basics and become more adept at surviving, you may no longer feel the need to put points into certain skills. It all comes down to what areas you feel would enhance your character and your gameplay. Play around with it, and above all, have fun. See you on SCUM Island!